All right, Second Chronicles 1, let's call this one Turn and subtitle it Solomon Established, because in this chapter it's literally going to say that Solomon established his kingdom. But it's not going to matter if God's not with him, and we're going to see at the beginning and the end how that matters. Because as Solomon is beginning, now that his father David has passed, he's going to go to the tabernacle, which has now been set up at Gibeon or Gibeah, where the bronze altar is also situated. But not there where it actually should be is the ark, which is in Jerusalem, in the place where David had set up a tent for it, understanding that they got separated during a time of war when the Philistines captured it, and Israel never fully returned it to the tabernacle where it was supposed to be, in the most holy place. But that's all going to be reconciled soon. But before we get there, Solomon is going to go make some offerings at the bronze altar. And after he makes 1,000 burnt offerings, God is going to say to Solomon, ask what you want. And Solomon is going to simply say, in this retelling of Solomon's prayer for wisdom, that as my father has indicated, I'm not very experienced. I'm a young man. And who can govern this great people, Israel? And so please grant me wisdom and knowledge. For what purpose, Solomon? So that I can lead these people well. And because, God is specifically going to say, because he did not ask for a whole bunch of stuff for himself, he is going to grant Solomon's prayer for wisdom. And he is going to use this opportunity to not only give Solomon what he asked for, the ability to lead well, but all the extra stuff to begin to elevate Israel as a nation to a point where people will consider them something worth turning to, understanding that that temple was built, once again, not to simply be applauded, but to be, in a lot of ways, a light to the nations, to let them know that whether or not you have ever known what your purpose was, or you once knew it, but it now seems kind of hazy, Israel is the kind of place you can turn to refocus yourself or learn your purpose, possibly for the first time in your life. And so when Solomon in this first chapter begins to feel the ways in which God can remove his unnecessary struggles, he is giving an example for all of us of the example of how life is going to carry some necessary struggles, understanding that Solomon didn't just get an invitation to the throne from every member of his family. He had the necessary struggle of getting the throne over the objection of his older brother Adonijah. And he had the necessary struggle of building the temple, a job potentially so overwhelming that his father David encouraged him, be strong and courageous and do not be afraid. And so those were his necessary struggles. But throughout this chapter, as it says, God was with Solomon, understanding that we once again talked about how after this is all said and done, he's going to get visitors from all over the world, one of them being the Queen of Sheba, who when she visits Israel is going to say the stories couldn't possibly begin to describe what it was really like living in a place that was not simply wealthy, because I can give wealth without peace, as we mentioned, but living in a place where, in comparison to the other rich kingdoms around them, she is coming to Israel at a time when she's not only witnessing its prosperity, but she's noticing the absence of unnecessary struggle. But getting there was a process, and so here in 2 Chronicles chapter 1, we are seeing the origins of a young man who simply asked God to help him lead people well, seemed to have God respond by removing him from places of unnecessary struggle, and in the next chapter, seeming to partner him with a leader for whom God was doing the same.